Welcome to Retire Right with Rick Durkee, presented exclusively by the Coastal Financial Planning Group here on News Radio 94.3 WSC. Rick Durkee is the retirement income planning and wealth distribution specialist in the Lowcountry. Are you ready to retire right? Here's your host this morning, Shane Griffin.
Good morning. Welcome in for another edition of Retire Right with Rick Durkee. I am your host, Shane Griffin. Each and every Saturday morning here at 9 o'clock, I have the privilege of sitting down with our local income planning and wealth distribution specialist, Rick Durkee, to help you to retire right. Good Saturday morning to you, sir, and happy Easter weekend.
Oh, thank you, Shane. Certainly a special time of the year for all Christians, and I thank you, Shane, because I want to say that I've had the privilege of working with you over the last almost 11 or 12 years.
It's been a while. We lose count, but
you've
yes.
aged right here in front of my eyes. But thank you. Thank you for the privilege of working with you also.
Same here. It's been a joy. As I mentioned last week, I feel like I've learned so much. Getting an education for free. We've talked about a number of great topics over the past month, over the past years, and no different here this morning because there's a big birthday facing some of the oldest boomers, and that will be our topic here this morning. But before we get into it, a couple of reminders. You can access past programs at the websites, cfpgroup.biz, cfpgroup.biz. You can also visit 943wsc.com and search the podcast page. Look for Retire Right with Rick Durkee. All the programs are there, and they are labeled. If you missed a program, want to go back and listen to another, or missed a portion of one, all the shows are right there, and you can do that all free. It's 943wsc.com podcast page and also cfpgroup.biz.
Okay, we're not giving them an excuse, though.
That's right.
Still tune in at 9.
You still need to listen. That's right. You still need to listen live as we do this program each and every Saturday at 9 o'clock. Also, if you would like a transcript of any of a past program, you can request those from the office, correct, Rick?
Yeah, we have all shows transcripted now and available by email. You may have to give us a week or so because we do use an outside source to do that. But certainly just request one by email. Send me an email, rick@cfpgroup.biz. Be happy to work with you on whatever your needs are to help you get educated and make proper decisions for your retirement.
One more reminder about the calendar of events. You can visit cfpgroup.biz and check out the calendar for upcoming workshops, seminars, and college courses. Rick has a number of events happening throughout the course of the year, and you can stay up to date on those at the calendar page at cfpgroup.biz. The topic, oldest boomers facing a big birthday. Found an article, Rick, at the website Financial Advisor, and this article was written by Karen DeMasters. The oldest baby boomers are facing a big birthday this year as they turn 70, which brings with it some forced financial decisions. The oldest boomers will have to start taking required minimum distributions, or RMDs, from their qualified retirement accounts, and those who have delayed receiving their Social Security benefits will have to start receiving their money. Let's first cover the RMDs. How do they work, and how do people use them in retirement planning?
Required minimum distribution, Shane. Wow, first of all, 70 years old. The oldest boomers are turning 70.
Incredible, isn't it?
It is a big birthday for them, and if they are
I don't see a boomer being forced to do anything, forced financial decisions.
Well, if they're, they definitely dictate what change they want to do, but I'm one of them, so right. I know,
right.
It's my way or the highway.
That's right.
No, I'm just kidding, but when we look at that age, 70, and then we think today, I mean, that's only 5 years later after what used to be a normal retirement age or a full retirement age in the Social Security system. Now we're 5 years past that at age 70. We still could have another 25 years left. Go to 95.
Isn't that incredible?
It is incredible. So it is a big birthday, but there's a lot ahead. And now the IRS is saying, hey, if you don't take that required minimum distribution, which I think it's a good name because it reminds you that you have to.
Yeah.
But I think we need to think of it as a required minimum withdrawal.
Okay.
Because it's coming out of that IRA.
RMW.
It's a stream of income. that has to come out every year. And that amount changes based on two factors: your age each year, and secondly, your account balances of 12/31 of the prior closing tax year. So when you multiply the factor that's easily obtained for those of you that are approaching age 70 or 70 and a half, and you have been delaying taking withdrawals from your IRAs, you can Google RMD calculator. Bankrate.com has a really simple one to use, and you can calculate what your RMD, your required minimum distribution, will be. Required minimum distributions are used in income planning, and when we do our income plans for our clients or prospective clients, we factor in that RMD into income as an income stream. It is a source of income at age 70 that when we look at Shane, I think you might remember this, or anyone that has had the opportunity to join us for one of our educational workshops, be it the college classes that we do at the College of Charleston or one of our dinner workshops or the events that we offer at our office. So if you had the occasion to join us at one of those workshops, you were presented 3 buckets up on a PowerPoint screen. And what we have is bucket number 1 is money that comes to you now. It is streams of income like Social Security if you started your benefits, like a pension, like perhaps a self-directed annuity payment that you set up with maybe some non-qualified assets. Bucket number 2 is your later money. It's money that's used later. It's tax deferred. It could be your IRA. And then bucket number 3 is your latest money. Bucket number 2 has a spigot. Bucket number 3 has a spigot, which means you can turn that income off and on. Bucket number 1 does not. It starts coming to you and you can't stop it. That is going to be your required minimum distribution at age 70. So it is a required payment that comes out of your IRA. And if you don't take them, and you don't take them earlier in your planning and do something with them, then you have to take them at 70 and a half. Now, most financial advisors would recommend that you don't wait till the 70 and a half time period, because then you're going to have to take out 2 in 1 year. And if you have a big IRA and you have 2 payments that all of a sudden are added to your income, maybe $15,000 to $20,000 each, you could put yourself in another tax bracket. So you want to do some tax forward planning in regards. For those of you listening today that say, well, you know what, I was fortunate enough, I set up a nice plan for my retirement, and I haven't had to use that IRA, and I really don't want to because it's 100% taxable at my ordinary income tax rate. So I've delayed it. But what you didn't do is you didn't say, okay, let's do a little tax forward planning when we're 65 or perhaps earlier, and take our payments out of our IRA, pay taxes on it now. Maybe we're in retirement already and our income tax bracket is lower, and pay taxes on them now and then convert that money to a Roth, because if you do that, then you don't have a required minimum distribution on those Roth dollars, and you also get the tax-free growth in those Roth accounts. So an opportunity for you to let that money to continue to grow on a tax-free basis after you pay taxes on the taxable assets. So here's the point, Shane, is that when we look at RMDs and how they're used in planning, we need to say, now they're shifting at age 70, that birthday occurred, and we have to shift them from the later bucket to the now bucket.
I got you.
It has to come to us. And how will that affect us from a tax standpoint? So doing tax forward planning is very important when you look at your RMDs. They're required, so I like that word. They're mandatory. Okay. Somebody call them required mandatory distributions or instead of required minimum distributions, but it is the minimum amount that you have to take out of that IRA.
Well, I wanted to get back to the tax planning, because shouldn't people be taking RMDs prior to turning 70 and a half? I mean, it seems to me that all that income at once might affect their tax situation. Am I right?
Well, certainly, and it flows down the pipeline, because whereas maybe your Social Security benefits were being taken and delaying taking money out of your IRA, now with that additional income coming from your IRA that's fully taxable at age 70, you could put yourself in another tax bracket for your Social Security benefits,
oh, goodness,
which are actually tax favored because they're not 100% taxable.
Right.
We can talk about that later in the show, Shane, but there are some tax time bombs that are created by continued deferral of this IRA until age 70, when you have to start taking it out, 70 and a half actually, when you have to start taking it out, that could be avoided with some tax-forward planning. This is tax-forward income planning, so it certainly should involve the enlistment of help from a financial planning firm that specializes in income planning for retirees, such as the Coastal Financial Planning Group and Frank Hutto, our certified financial planner. It should also include and enlist the help of a CPA who can look at your tax returns for the last 2 years, do a little forecasting of what your income would look like in the next 2 to maybe 5 to maybe as long as 10 years, and do a Roth conversion or a Roth rollout strategy where you're rolling money out of that IRA into a Roth and paying taxes on it now to avoid RMDs at age 70 and a half, as I spoke about just a minute ago. So there's tax issues here that when that RMD occurs, you can cause other levers to go off that can create more taxes on some of your other income also, and that needs to be thought through from a tax standpoint. There are other strategies that people use when they start taking their RMDs. We have some prospective clients that come in and they say, I really don't want to take that money out of my IRA right now. I am before 70 and a half. I don't want to take that income now, but you know what? I'm never going to really use that IRA for income for myself and my wife. We have a pension. We have plenty of income. We are meeting our expenses in retirement, and I'd like to put this off as long as possible. Well, that's only allowed to go until age 70 and a half. But what if you had decided that this IRA asset was going to pass on to your children? If you didn't want to do the Roth conversion strategy, maybe you didn't want to pay the taxes now, or you didn't want to put it into some type of a tax-free investment, perhaps you might have a need to pass on a legacy that would also be a tool that you could use to accomplish this goal. We have people that come in and say, why don't I start my RMD now? Why don't I give it to an insurance company? Because me and my wife are both in good health.
I got you. And
why don't we take out a life insurance policy and let that money that we're taking out early out of our projected RMD requirements at age 70 and a half, we use that same dollar amount, and why don't we fund that into life insurance now while we're in good health at age 65, get a 5-year jump start on this, and then when we die, that life insurance plan will pay into the estate, and that that money that was going to be taxed in the IRA now can be offset by the life insurance proceeds.
Makes sense.
So there are some different strategies that you can use for taking your RMDs early. Certainly there are things that most people won't get that type of advice when they're meeting with a financial advisor, because that financial advisor has been looked at in the past as mainly providing information to help them grow their wealth, instead of how to distribute that wealth in the most tax-efficient manners possible, reaching the goals of what they want and need their money to do for them, and also reviewing it from a risk standpoint as to what type of those investments out there should be used to accomplish some of these ideas that I've shared with you today.
All right, so we've covered the required minimum distributions in regards to the big birthday facing the oldest boomers. Let's move on to Social Security and using the remainder of the program, discussing the taxes on the Social Security benefits and when to take them. How are Social Security benefits taxed? First, let's discuss that, and then we'll move into how someone can, by delaying taking the benefits, come out in a better situation as they approach 70 years old.
Well, Shane, let me always reference our CPAs out there and people that give tax advice. Certainly, when we give this information to our listener today, we always say that you should consult with your individual tax advisor regarding these strategies and ideas. Your individual situation is going to be different than the one we may be illustrating today through these hypothetical examples, but let's just share with our listener today the basic numbers and then relay that to some of the principles that we talked about earlier, and then say, take this concept, make sure that you have a financial professional team that can help put together a plan, and then let's work in conjunction with that tax advisor to make sure that this fits your individual situation. Social Security benefits are taxed. They're actually tax favored when you compare them to your IRA and the required minimum distributions that we just talked about. Social Security benefits are taxed at either a 50% of your benefits rate, okay, not rate, excuse me, 50% amount. So you take your Social Security benefits and 50% of them may be taxed at your federal tax rate with no state taxes, fortunately, in the state of South Carolina, or an 85% amount of your Social Security benefits collected. Now, there is a formula that's used, and I can summarize it, again, without being a tax advisor, and say that any form of income that you're bringing in plus your Social Security benefits are used in that formula.
Right.
All is factored in. So Social Security benefits are actually looked at as being taxed twice, when they went in and when they're coming out.
Wow.
Okay? Double taxation.
Yeah.
However, some numbers are this. For an individual, 50% of Social Security benefit is subject to federal income tax if the provisional income is above $25,000. And 85% is taxed if the income exceeds $34,000, the provisional income, according to the Social Security Administration. Now, limits for couples are $32,000 at 50% and $44,000 of provisional income is taxed at 85% of the benefits. So
Gotcha.
I know that sounds a little bit confusing, folks, but let's just boil it down to this. Social Security benefits are tax favored when you compare them to your fully taxable IRA distributions.
Right.
So planning how to take these benefits becomes critical when you're doing income tax planning for your income in retirement. And so there may be benefits for delaying taking your Social Security benefits if you have other assets, perhaps other than your IRA, which is fully taxable. And regulating the spigots on those three buckets that I talked about of your sources of income to make sure that you're saving money from slipping through the cracks, going into a tax bracket that you don't need to, with tax forward planning will help you to save maybe $1,000 in taxes a year. If you're living 25 to 30 years in retirement, that's $25,000 to $30,000. Why wouldn't we want to sit down with a financial planner and also a tax professional and do that tax forward planning so that we could save that money and avoid it from slipping through the cracks? What could you do with an extra $25,000 to $30,000? Social Security is not about anymore taking your benefits because you're worried about the system falling apart. All right. It's about making sure that you're properly timing when to take those benefits and how to take those benefits in your income sources throughout your retirement years, all of your retirement years, that is important information for you to know before you make that financial decision. So Social Security planning for taxes is very important in retirement planning, Shane.
Well, let's talk about the age of 70. That's the limit to continue to wait to take your benefits. But people that wait to take the benefits can get more as each year passes, correct?
That's true. Social Security from age, if you take it at 62 to your full or normal retirement age, whatever that may be, grows by 7% per year. This is a government promise, folks, and promises can be reneged on, as we know when it comes to taxes.
The government's involved,
and recent changes in the Social Security system. So that government promise could be changed. It's not a guarantee. But now from your normal retirement age or full retirement age all the way up till age 70, those benefits currently are increasing by 8%. So I ask this question all the time. Where can you find a investment out there that if you put it in the holding tank, it's going to grow by those two amounts?
Right now?
Yeah.
Not many.
Not many. And that promise may not last very long, okay, for cost of living increases or delaying the benefits. But those are all based on numbers, folks. The Social Security system is an annuity payout system. And the longer you wait to take an annuity payment, the more you get because the shorter you're supposed to be around. So they give you more money. So it does benefit you to wait if you are in good health. And also if you have other assets that are tax favored to be able to use those savings and investments that you used after tax dollars for, non-retirement plan assets. So there's pros and cons of taking early or waiting late. Certainly each individual situation needs to be looked at individually. At the Coastal Financial Planning Group, we use an outside source to be able to provide a total printout of all of the different options that you have currently under current rules of the Social Security system. And then you're able to see how much you would get paid out over standard mortality for each of those options. So you can make a decision with the facts, with dollars. Now, there's one fact that's missing. You really don't know how long we're going to live.
That's right.
Okay?
Longevity is a question mark.
But we do agree that statistically right now people are living longer. And to get to the old break-even date that they used to say if you delayed Social Security benefits to age 70, that if you waited till 70, that you had to get to about 78 before you would break even on the system.
Okay.
That's on an individual, folks. So if you got that type of advice before, you need to look at it if you're married as a couple and what happens to Social Security benefits under present rules. If one of those spouses dies, you step up to the higher of the two spouses that were living to start with, and you get that benefit going forward. So if you delayed your benefits and you got that increase all the way up till 70, then the surviving spouse gets that benefit for the remainder of their life if you die. So a lot of things that need to be considered when you're doing that type of planning for Social Security. We're talking today about turning 70. If you're a boomer, two big things happen. Required minimum distributions happen this year. Social Security, if you haven't started it yet, happens this year.
And that article, again, found on Financial Advisor and written by Karen DeMasters. If you would like a copy of the article, you can send Rick an email, rick@cfpgroup.biz, rick@cfpgroup.biz. 30 seconds, Rick. I know you would like to give away the book Income Allocation by David Gaylor, correct?
I would. First 5 callers today. We've been giving the book away ever since David joined us on the show. Certainly visit our website and listen to his show if you haven't heard it before. First 5 callers today receive a copy of Income Allocation. And visit the website, cfpgroup.biz, to see our upcoming calendar of events of when we'll be doing income planning workshops at the College of Charleston as a sponsored event for our local retirees.
Rick, happy Easter to you, sir, and we'll see you back here next Saturday.
Thank you, Shane. I'm Rick Durkee, and you've been listening to Retire Right with Rick Durkee. Have a nice Easter Sunday, and we'll see you next week, 9 a.m. on 94.3 WSC and 94.3WSC.com.